stop working. It just... Oh, you.
We're on?
Mm-hmm.
Like legit on?
Yeah, go.
Oh. Hi. Welcome to the First Degree Study Group. I'm Reverend Lexi Renee and I'll be leading this today. This is our second group so far, and last class we talked about the introduction, what the first degree is, what it offers, and what it can be done, what it has to offer you as an individual. Today's class we're going to be talking about magic and what it is and what it means for you. Now, before we get into everything, I would like just to take a moment. These classes are for your development, and if you really want to get involved, I would recommend picking up the Witch School First Degree lessons in the Cryan tradition. You can easily find it on witchschool.com store or online somewhere. And you know, everything I'm giving you is a summarized version of what's in this book. And so if you sign up for classes on witchschool.com, it's a lot easier to really give some input on these classes and learn from them and develop from them. So we're on lesson 1, part 1 of the Cryan First Degree. And we start off with magic. Most people come to Wicca because they have an interest in magic, and this is a perfectly valid reason. Many would say that magic is just a small portion of what Wicca is truly about, and in some ways that's right, but truly everything in Wicca is magic, and everything about Wicca is magic. Wicca is about transformation, it's about creation, and spiritual growth. And all of this is what magic is truly about, and what magic can help you with. Today we're going to talk about the theory of magic. We all know the universe is composed of energy. Everything around you and everything you see. You too are composed of energy. Even the most solid stone has millions and millions of compact particles making it up, and atoms and molecules orbiting each other in the endless and graceful dance of life. This brings us to the ancient maxim, as above, so below, which means all of creation, whether great or small, reflects the same divine nature or the divine plan, that all things naturally mirror and reflect the divine's qualities, meaning that nature reflects the divine, the goddess, and all of her being. Energy is not really static or inanimate. Rather, it's very responsive. It's very dynamic in character. It's fluid in its movements, kind of like water. A lot of people symbolically choose water to represent the flow of energy. And unfortunately, energy is really unique into itself, and you can only come to really understand energy by working with it. Energy has a very unique feel. It's not quite like static, it's not quite like electricity or the movement of water. So you really have to work with it. It is the shape this energy assumes that creates a pattern of the physical world we see around us. For all physical forms are structured from it. We interact with this energy every day and every second of our lives. We constantly respond to this energy and change it whether we are aware of it or not. Likewise, do I need to start over?
No. It's attempting to reconnect. Okay, continue.
Our emotions and thoughts constantly affect everything around us, all the situations we're going through, and the energy takes shape around us and in reaction to us. Usually this is an unconscious process out of our control. When we bring our conscious mind and willpower to bear on this process, we create a different situation. When we start using our willpower, we take control and develop our own skills in magic. Magic. And what is magic? Magic is the art of consciously focusing and controlling this all-pervasive energy. Pervasive. Energy reacts to thought and emotion. Therefore, thought and emotion can be used to control or influence it. Magic is done by the higher level of conscience, also known as the higher self. The higher self, psychics and trance do not use normal beta waves, but they use theta and delta waves, which are which we also use for sleep. An accomplished witch can learn to make this transition at will, and this is called shifting conscience. The more you practice, the more you'll find that it's much easier to shift conscience at will. You can do it within a twinkling of an eye. And you don't have to use any tools to do so. You'll find yourself being able to think a thought and have it happen. And that's really once you become accomplished and actually master the art of magic. As a new student, you can expect to use external factors to reach this state of shifting conscience. Specific words, ritual patterns, or items such as stones or artifacts can really aid you in this process. Such external trappings are called keys that we use to help us affect this shift. Keys work on a symbolic level, bypassing consciousness to accept our higher self. Visualization, trance, spellcraft, ritual of various sorts, chanting and toning are some techniques that can be used to create the shift. It is important it's very important that you use different techniques so you can find out what's better for you and what really works to your liking. Now for the exercise. The exercises presented in this lesson will help you develop your psychic and magical skill. Psychic and magical ability is like a muscle that grows stronger with use. Psychism and magic is essentially the same thing. With psychism, being receptive of spiritual influence, and magic, using the same skills actively to achieve goals. It is good to practice these exercises every day, at regularly the same time every day. These exercises rely heavily on visualization. This itself gets easier with practice. If you find visualization hard, try focusing on the feeling of the energy, and rather than what it looks like. So first I'd like to talk about good habits. It's really a good habit to practice magic every day at the same time of the day. And if you can't practice at the same time every day, try and practice at the same part of the day. And the first thing that I wish to talk about is psychic shielding and the importance of shielding. Shielding and grounding are some of the most basic energetic exercises you can learn. Shielding's probably the most important thing that you can learn. One moment. A lot of times we go throughout our day and we pick up energy from other people, from other places, and we become like a psychic sponge. And we start taking in all of this energy around us. And that's not really good. And shielding can help prevent this. Now, if you would do this with me, or if you wait till after the lesson, I will be posting all of the exercises online for you to see yourself. Begin by putting yourself into a comfortable position and releasing all tension and anxiety. Visualize a ball of white light floating above you. Focus on the energy of the ball. Know that it is full of love and strength and peace. Try hard to feel these qualities in the energy of the ball. Now let the energy from the ball of light begin to flow down into you. The energy is beautiful, clear white light. No matter how much light comes into you, the ball will remain equally strong, for its true origin is the goddess, and it is a source of boundless spiritual energy. Let the energy from the ball pour into you and the flow throughout your body. Let it move out into your arms and legs and down into your fingers and toes. Let that light expand beyond your body. At first, see the light expand just an inch outward from your body. Now let it expand a little more, 2 inches, 4 inches, and so on. Let the light expand to form an oval around your whole body, an oval filled with clear, beautiful, loving white light from the goddess. Let that oval of white light expand to form a perfect circle of energy around you, growing until it is about 6 feet across. Now, in your mind, affirm this. There is one power in the universe, and I am a perfect manifestation of that power. As such, I will that the boundaries of my aura shall be strong and healthy, repelling all unwanted energy while remaining open to positive and healing energy. Safe within these boundaries, nothing can harm me, for I am filled with the strength of the goddess. By my will, so mote it be. And it is so. And that is basically a very easy way to shield yourself from all negativity or gathering people's energies. Now, you're going to find yourself, one thing that is very good to do before all magic, before all rituals or anything, is grounding and releasing, cleansing and releasing. This is probably the single most important thing to learn. By cleansing and releasing, you clear your body and prepare yourself for the work. And by cleansing and releasing, you get rid of all excess energy that may still be within you. And there's also an exercise for cleansing and releasing. And there are many signs of excess energy. Among them are dizziness, lack of balance, and feeling giddy or disoriented. Also feeling very hyperactive and the inability to rest or to sleep after a magical activity. There are several ways to ground and release, and this is going to be one of many. If you would like to explore any other ways, they're all within the book, and I'm going to just list a couple. Now, if you would, visualize with me a bright white light pouring down from above the top of your head, passing through your whole body, and exiting through the soles of your feet. Release all tensions, anxieties, and stresses in your being. Imagine them flowing out of you, along with the white light. Let it all pour out of you. Imagine the excess energy as little bits of darkness being carried away with the light as it flows through you. When the last little bits of darkness are gone, let the light stop from coming down and let the last of it flow out of you. There are many ways to do this. One is by imagining water flowing through your body and releasing this energy back to the earth and back to the mother for better cause and better use. Another is using wind. If you feel very close to the wind air element, you can use wind and imagine the wind carrying off this excess energy away from your body, kind of like leaves or debris being flowing from you. Also, you can imagine the roots of a tree coming down from the soles of your feet and entering the ground, and you can see the light and all of that excess energy returning to the mother. You can also visualize that you're actually laying in a river and that the water and the flow of the current is cleansing your body. There's also a lot of physical ways that you can naturally ground yourself. You can put salt on your tongue. You can just lightly brush your hand over salt. Also, hematite is a great way to get rid of excess energy. Also, exercise, taking a shower, eating food. Very salty crackers is another good way to take out all excess energy. If you have a headache, if you've been working really hard on your exercises, you find that you have a headache, your third eye is hurting, or your solar plexus is hurting, releasing energy and tension is a great way to feel revived, refreshed, and ready to start your day. I personally ground 3 times a day, in the morning, when I eat lunch, and before I go to bed. And I also ground before all magical activities. If I do a reading for someone, if I go into seance, I ground then as well. And I'm ready to open this up to any questions that anyone would have about the first degree. And I hope you've enjoyed this lesson so far, and you've been a wonderful audience.
All right. Tannen Folletti says, I have a hard time visualizing white light. Anubis says that he uses water instead, and Tannen Folletti says that flowers or stones are easier for her to visualize.
That's a great thing to do. Visualizing hematite, if you do not have hematite with you, excuse me, one thing you can do is actually visualize the stone and the properties of the stone, and visualizing all this excess energy going into that stone. And what you want to do is take the stone that you're visualizing and bury it in the ground, or send it off to the universe for better use. And just fling it away from you and sweep it out of the home. There's several ways you can do it. I would recommend that you use salt and things like that if you have it around. And visualizing water is a great way to do so. Anything else?
Do you think there is Snowwolf asks, do you think there is a difference between shielding for psychic attacks and magic attacks?
Well, I see psychism and magic to be hand in hand. One moment. I feel that the shielding that I presented in this lesson is good for both. Psychic attacks are very rare, and when you are facing that, following the affirmation that I repeated here allows you to put up those barriers. And I've never really needed anything beyond this, anything that's harsher than this to deal with a psychic attack.
Relic says that she visualizes the egg around her, and is that not the same thing as shielding?
The egg is a great way to shield. It's one of many forms of shielding, and that's perfectly fine. And remember, magic is highly individualized. Everything that's presented in here, you can work with. Change it in whatever form that you feel is most productive to you. If you feel the egg or feeling that you're encased in stone works better for you, that's perfectly valid. Whatever makes you feel protected will work.
Anubis says, you were talking about visualization. If your practice is interrupted and visualization is broken, can I just refocus myself? Or should I just stop the ritual right then and there? Lady Sinan says that you should refocus.
Refocusing is a great way to deal with that. Fact is you're going to have interruptions. Life is going to continue going. And you can find yourself annoyed at this, and you can pick up when you lose focus, something that you should do is ground real quick and cleanse and release again and redo it. Not that it could ruin your focus or ruin anything, but just to make you feel a lot better while you're doing it.
Derek McCarthy asks, does the color matter in shielding? Because I normally see a bright blue.
Well, Derek, thank you for that. There's different forms of... Okay, let me start this off with color brings different qualities. And whatever qualities you're looking for at this moment, that's perfectly valid. Bright blue, for me, represents the goddess. So when I shield, I use a white-ish blue color. So that's perfectly valid. If you want something a little more noticeable, a lot more strength and courage oriented, a bright yellow would work. And if you're wanting something very goddess oriented as well, silver can work as well as amber, the color amber.
Tannen Folletti wonders if it is possible for someone to psychically attack themselves.
Well, that's an interesting question, and I'm going to answer it with this. A lot of times, let me back up. Like attracts like. Therefore, if you're negative, you're going to attract negativity to you. And a lot of what we face can actually be our fears projected, and our fears personified as an attack. So really, when you start talking about psychic attack, look within yourself before you start blaming someone else. Because psychic attack is actually pretty rare. Most of the times, it's just a fear-based, a fear that's been personified.
When visualizing yourself, do you visualize in first or third person?
I think both ways are fine, whatever you believe to be most effective to you.
For example, which one do you use, personally? First is visualizing yourself inside your body, or third is visualizing you as like if you're looking in a mirror.
Oh, okay. So I visualize myself. Sorry, I fell asleep in English class when they taught first and third person and second person. Is there a second person? I don't know. But yeah. Yes, I visualize in first and third person depending on the situation.
For example, what situations would you use?
If I'm in astral, I'm in third person. If I'm healing, I'm in first person.
Okay. Is it possible to ground while shielding?
Of course. When you get more involved with magic, you'll find that you ground and shield instantly without much thought. Like, right now, I can just think grounding. I'm automatically grounding myself. I can think shielding. I'm automatically shielding myself. Because after you practice a while, it just becomes second nature and it becomes instinct. And that's really why you're supposed to be practicing every day, is so it forms and becomes instinct.
Anubis says, I feel ungrounded when I take a shower. Is that just me?
I'm sure there's people just like that. I personally find grounding to be, showering to be very grounding. But it's possible that the shower is helping you shift conscience to your higher self. So it's possible that you actually enter a state where you can perform magic better while you're showering, which would be perfectly valid.
Snowwolf brought up an interesting comment to Lady Sinan's question about, is it possible to ground while you're shielding? She says, or you could just throw the excess energy into the shield.
I can see that. When I first started, I still have issues where if I don't practice magic, the energy gets built up in me. And I filter so much energy going that I have to constantly ground or constantly do magic. So I can see that taking this energy and putting it to your shield could be very beneficial.
Steph says, if you throw excess energy into your shield, I recommend cleansing it first.
You can, while putting that energy into your shield, imagining it as a white light, I would say would be cleansing itself while you're moving it. Because you're transforming. In order for you to take this energy within yourself and put it into your shield, you're also transforming it and moving it. So I'd say, yeah, you're going to be naturally cleansing it as you're changing the purpose of that energy.
Anubis wants to know if he can call in.
We really don't have a call-in system. We're doing shout-outs, and we'll have to set that up sometime. That would probably be very interesting.
Snowwolf says, I always see the energy going through a circle as one color and coming out as white light.
That's valid.
And Anubis said he was just playing around about the calling in thing.
Oh, thank you. Any other questions? Now's the other time.
Canon Folletti says, I like seeing the white light coming in and going out as black.
Are you talking about your shield or you personally? Because when you're seeing the white light enter your body and going out, you can see it as black, as negative of everything within you that you're just wanting to get rid of, kind of like trash, anything, any buildup. You can see it as black leaving your body into the goddess, into the earth.
She says the shield.
Okay. Can you describe what exactly you're doing with the energy? Are you taking the white light in, then putting it out in your shield as black? Because black is a protective color, and that would be valid as far as I'm concerned. Anything in the meantime?
I'm sorry, I meant to say for cleansing, when I am ridding myself of excess energy.
Oh, yeah, that's valid. Yeah. A lot of times I see, what I do is I actually use yellow light pouring into me and burning away anything that's negative, anything that it just is not needed.
Relic says, I visualize it as muddy water, the clearing energy.
Okay. Any other questions?
Does shielding require a trance state?
Shielding does not necessarily require a trance state. When we're shifting conscience, we use theta or delta waves. And I would not say that you need to put yourself in trance if you're doing light work. I've never had to do it. But cleansing and releasing would help you shift conscience to better focus. So if you want to go into trance to better focus yourself for this work, that's perfectly okay, but I don't think that a trance state would be necessary to perform the shielding.
So would you say it would be more like meditation as opposed to trance?
Yeah, I would call it meditation more than trance. When I think trance, I think really deeper. A lot deeper. When in trance, I am one with my higher self. For shielding, I don't think you're needing to make this transition to be one with your higher self as much. As if you were bringing through oracle or doing mediumship. I use trance for oracle and mediumship. Not really shielding or visualization work.
What is the difference between meditation and trance?
Okay. Meditation and trance go hand in hand. A trance is a shift in consciousness where you're closer to your higher self and closer to the divine. Meditation, you can be doing the same thing, but meditation is seen more as Fox, give me a word here.
What are you looking for?
To explain how meditation and trance go hand in hand, meditation...
To me, meditation's always been more about the focus. Trance is when you've gone so far into that focus you can start doing work with your subconscious.
Okay. And remember, that's not exactly in the first degree, but I'm answering that the best I can. I personally do not know 100%, can't give you a definition on meditation, trance work. I see trance as being deeper than meditation. But they can work hand in hand, once again.
Tannen Folletti says, when I meditate, I usually get REM state visuals within 10 minutes. Is that a good sign? I have reached the trance state.
I would say that that's a good sign. That's pretty deep trance. Good work.
Okay. Amethyst wants to know, can you shield yourself from negative energy, as in throughout the day, especially if you seem to pick it up from other people? I seem to be a magnet for other people's highs and lows. It can be exhausting.
Yes, and what's that called? What I would call you is a psychic sponge. You're taking all these emotions and you just suck it into yourself and you get full. This can be bad for the fact that you can get angry for no reason, you can get sad for no reason, and you really need to deal with this. The best way is to do the shielding, as presented in the lessons, and to ground and release. Since you're very sensitive to this, you're going to have to work at it a lot more than other people might. And shielding throughout the day, you should shield. When you first begin, I recommend shielding at least 3 times a day at the least. And doing it periodically whenever you feel it's needed. If you feel you're in the presence of someone who has really nasty negative energy, or if you feel that you're threatened in any way, whether it be emotionally, physically, you name it.
A couple of people have thrown out the word empath for staff.
Yes. That would be called empath. I personally stay away from the word empath because a lot of people take it to different levels of meaning. Very light being you're just receptive to other people's emotions, being you're a really deep psychic sponge. So I usually don't use the word empath. And that's just personal.
All right. Anubis asks, how do you reach a trance state?
That's a good question. A trance state is reached when the mind is totally focused and totally at ease and relaxed. To be in trance, you have to be very relaxed. And it's really shifting conscience. Once you find that shift, which you're going to be using throughout your studies, but at first students use keys to access that trance, access the, excuse me. Usually students use keys to access their higher self. Once you get good enough, you usually just go straight into trance. You'll find yourself going into trance in less and less time the more you practice. It usually takes me about 2 or 3 seconds to get under enough to give people accurate readings during mediumship or seance work. I hope that answered your question.
What could you define key? I noticed you used that word a couple times.
A key is anything physical that helps you make that transition, and the transition of, wow, I am just losing my train of thought here. Sorry, do we have water? No. Okay. A key is anything that helps you make that shift of conscience, anything that helps you get in tune with your higher self. It can be ritual, it can be tools, it can be words that help you become closer to your higher self.
Everybody wants to know, based on Relic's question, how does one meditate successfully when you have ADHD?
Practice, practice, practice. That's really the only thing that I can tell you. You can use keys to meditation. You can use music. You can try and focus on the music. You can try and focus on an object. You can focus on a candle flame. You've really got to work with different things to figure out what works for you.
Melissa wants to know, are you still aware of things in the periphery of your conscience when you are in trance? Do those things go away if you enter into a deep enough trance?
Most of the time, I have never been so deep in trance that I wasn't aware of my physical surroundings. Just because you're in trance doesn't mean that your body's defenses aren't still awake. I'm very aware of what's going on around me, but yet I can still feel my subconscious being in control. So yes, very much so. You'll know if someone calls your name, you'll answer them. If someone needs you for anything, you'll come up. You may be a little off balance, just ground center and go about your life's needs. Anything else for me?
Melissa suggests, what about moving meditation for people with ADHD?
You can actually dance. Moving to music can easily shift your conscience. That's what ritual dance is really about, and having a fire. Dancing around the fire can really induce that trance-like state for you to ask deity questions or find out information that you need and to shift your conscience.
Melissa says that doing something repetitive like braiding sometimes helps her.
Very good. That's very good. Unfortunately, I am not able to drive because the sound of the wheels on the road puts me into a trance-like state. So I will not be driving.
Do you think keywords might be of help for ADHD to help focus the mind when meditating?
Yes, and to get keywords to really help you, you're going to have to practice it. I call out a certain name of one of my guardians to help me know, and I do it repetitively in a beat. Also, drums, if you play any instrument, anything repetitive can help you go into trance and meditation.
All right. So would you say that pretty much your answer to most other questions would be overarchingly practice makes perfect?
Practice makes perfect. And just to wrap it up, if you're really wanting to follow the study group, I recommend taking the Witch School First Degree on witchschool.com or buying the book. I have the book and it's marked with highlighter and made pretty notes in the corners all throughout it. I really recommend you doing this or you're going to be lost and you're missing out on a lot of information. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go through every single detail. I can only get to key points. So if you're really interested in making a change and bettering yourself in your magical arts, the first degree is a great way to do that. And furthermore, I just want to mention that Witch School is also having a lifetime membership special right now. Lifetime memberships are only $29.99 for until Yule, until Christmas. When originally they're $99.99. So take advantage. They're ridiculously cheap. They make great gifts for people, and it gives you access to over 100 classes on witchcraft.
So you noticed you just said that you were talking about only key points. So would it behoove people to read ahead and have questions prepared for next week?
Yes, please feel free to read ahead. This week we were talking about magic and the theory of magic. Okay? Next week we talk about the practice of magic. So if you want to go ahead and start the first degree and read this lesson and the next lesson, please do so. And you feel free to keep up with your studies. And whether you're going through this for the path of clergy or if you're going for your own development, it can truly make a difference for you.
All right.
And I want to thank everyone for being here with me tonight. You're a great audience and you have great questions. And please spread the word. Tell everyone that there's a study group about Wicca and what witchcraft truly is about. And have a blessed night.
They all say thank you.
Thank you.